just been not like passing into oncoming traffic lanes too. It's just a feeling I got when he cut right over it. I used to be more in a hurry, wanting to pass everybody and stuff for that, but way beyond that now. That barn is all flat. I think that just fell not too long ago, because I can swear the last time I was by here, that barn was still standing. It was an old one that was rickety, but it fell down now, so probably within the last week here, when we had some really strong winds in our area, that's probably when it went down. Ew. Cadillac had a crunch in the roof. Like a tree landed on it or something. Been to church for a while now. I've been able to watch it online, so that's nice. I don't know about this next month, though. I was trying to squirrel away some money to pay my internet bill, but I won't be able to do that. Hopefully it'll work out. being thankful. I'm very appreciative and very blessed. But still very stressful. It's always like the last minute or something, the last minute or the day before or something like that. And then something happens, and it's like I just keep getting amazed, like, whoo, oh my God, that was close, you know. But it's stressful each time. And because of that stress, I've been really, you know, getting up in the morning is the toughest, you know, with all the stress. And this last week, I've been doing a lot of not wanting to get up and lay around just because I get burnt out. You know, even with the videos, I can't afford the gas to keep running to the library to upload and stuff. So I've been editing at Holiday, but I can't upload there because they don't have open fast internet. You know, and library does. Then I got to drive there, and that's like a little over 4.5 miles away or something. So then we're looking at a 9-mile trip round trip. You know, and so that's over a gallon of gas just to go to the library and back. But I really can't complain, man. You know, I mean, I'm still alive. Haven't froze to death or nothing. You know, I've stayed warm through the winter. Had a couple nights that were a little cool, you know. When we got into our 40 below wind chill stuff, it was down to about 54 in here one night, you know, for the whole night. So, but under the blankets, it wasn't too bad, you know. Been a learning experience in a lot of ways. I've got to meet a lot of nomads and people that, you know, live in their cars and stuff. I met a guy the other night. His name is Devin. And got talking to him while I was editing videos at Holiday. And so I don't know which way he came in. I said, but you seen the camper out there? I said, yeah, I did see it. I said, that's from home. He said, really? I said, yep, I've been living in it for going into my 4th year now. And he's like, wow, that's when he told me that he lives in his car. And then I started telling him about, he hasn't watched videos like I have about van life, car life, and all that stuff. And then when I started telling him about the community, and that there's quite a few different people that live in their cars or vans or campers or whatever, he said, really? Yeah, it made him feel kind of good because like he wasn't alone. You know, he said when he started living in his car, which is not too long ago here, I don't know how long ago, but it sounded like it was fairly recent, like, you know, within a year or something. And he said it really wasn't that bad, actually, even in the winter. He said in the cold nights, he said he starts his car up, lets it run for like 15 minutes to get it warm, and then he shuts it off and he can sleep for about 2 hours, he said. And then in 2 hours, he's got to start it up again and run the heat a little bit, get it warmed up, and then he's good for another 2 hours. You know. But when I told him about other nomads and stuff, he was kind of didn't feel as alone then. I could tell. It kind of cheered him up that he said, I didn't know there was a community, you know, meaning other people that live in their cars. I said, oh yeah. I said, you just got to keep your eye out for them. You'll notice, you know. And I told him how I, you know, was watching van life, RV life videos for a lot of years preparing for it before I went into it. So I said, I went into it pretty prepared. I said, I know I've got it, you know, pretty dang good compared to a lot of people out there. You know, I was telling him how when I was working at the foundry and I'd stay at the rest area a lot of regulars stayed there too, people in their cars and SUVs and stuff and vans. And there was a guy that had a Mustang, and when I get off work, because I worked from 3 in the afternoon to 1:20 in the morning, and when I got done working at the foundry, if I headed straight to the rest area, the guy in the Mustang, he had like a, I'm going to guess maybe a 6-inch monitor from a stereo or something, and he'd be watching TV or a show or something on it, and shortly after that he'd go to bed. Now if I went to the gas station or something to get some stuff before I went to the rest area, then normally he'd already have his little TV off and already be sleeping, you know. he had a steady routine. He was there every night. Other people were there almost every night. And I was telling Devin that I met the other night that about the community and how many people all over are live in their cars and stuff. You're shocked. You didn't realize there was that many people. I said, oh yeah. And I said, even though I get to know them all because I'm a people person, me and some of them would joke around about it, like when I'd come pulling into the rest area, because a lot of the people there were either in their SUVs or their cars. I mean, you can imagine how much more living in a Mustang is compared to, I've got a little Class C camper. It's only 22 feet from bumper to bumper, but it's still big and square and boxy. It's like a miniature house, so I got room to stand up, move around and stuff, which is very important for me, especially with me being older, because that hunching over stuff like in a short van would be hard for my back. I don't know if I could have made it through the 3-4 years or whatever here, going into 4 years, if I was in a shorter van where I had to hunch over and stuff. Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I think being cooped up in the van, not being able to stand or move around and stuff through the winter would have been psychologically a lot harder on me. But what I started to say, and I almost end up veering off somewhere else, is we joke around, being some of the other nomad community, about how them in their cars, like when I come pulling into the rest area, they'd be like, oh, here comes the guy with the castle, or the mansion, because they're in a car and I'm in a camper. But we joke around about it. So, and I would always tell them that, no, I'm very fortunate. I realized that. Well, then I was working. I was really, really fortunate. Even now, being out of work for 10 months and surviving Minnesota winter. Living in Macampa, what a intense thing it's been, just especially the stress of not knowing, what you're going to do next, because if I don't keep diesel in it, I'll freeze, if I don't keep that furnace going, and if I don't keep gas in it so I can move, they'll tow me away, so it's pretty intense. But as long as you got an income, an income, I'd say what I've learned from this is I could survive, even this is through Minnesota winter with the diesel heater, and this isn't a Arctic package camper, with double pane windows and the insulation and stuff. This is just a no frills. So if this was an Arctic package with the insulation and stuff, my diesel cost would go way down. But so it's running non-stop in the winter pretty much, so it doesn't get cold in here, and so my food don't freeze and stuff. So basically, once winter comes, once the weather gets into the 30s or that, it's running all winter long non-stop, And then I got even if I'm somewhere else in a store, even when I was working, I'd leave it running all through my 10-12-hour shifts, so nothing would freeze out here. But what I've learned from these 8 months of being out of work and surviving and having everybody help me, I forget about other business. I'm trying to think, because I started focusing just on the gas and diesel. I still think it would be very tight, but on $500 a month, I gotta think about food too, because I'm on SNAP, so I get like 200 and something a month for food. So that would make it $600-700. So that'd make it about $700 a month if you didn't have SNAP or for the food stuff. So for less than $700, and maybe even on $500 still, I just have to really watch my budget tight. But I can survive in this even through a winter for $500 a month. I'll say $7 though, because of food, have done before. I've been starving and being bored and lost weight before. Turn on my headlights. I have my running lights on, but it's starting to get darker. So yeah, so I could survive. It'd be tight, but I really think I could survive and live on $500 a month doing in this camper. Now, that's not counting maintenance on it, but I've already put a bunch of money into this. Put over $5,000 into it. Maybe even $7,000. I don't know. But, just because I didn't want to have anything break it down on me. So, because it's a 1996. But that $500 a month would be more surviving, not really enjoying life. Because the more you stay still or stay in a local area, like even if you're just bouncing from, Cup Foods one night because they're open 24 hours to another store one night, or bouncing, trying to stay tight in an area where you're not driving long distance, running up fuel, you can do it on $500 a month. But that's when you're traveling more to go see stuff or do stuff or whatever. That's when your rent goes up, because the more you're driving, the more fuel you put in. But that's still 3 times cheaper than renting an apartment or whatnot, And the other thing is that I'm gonna have to bring this to a close here. Is there a car behind me? I can't tell. Yeah, it's a getting long video. Hey, thanks for watching. God bless you, and we'll see you on the next one.